Howdy troops, it's Icy Walker and I want to show you guys part 2 of how to make an NPC spawner an NPC spawner whenever you use a blast rod in Minecraft in 1.8.1. So what guys, after you've seen the first part, you will know exactly how to make the base class, which we're on right now. And I'm going to show you guys two quick things as well. What I'm going to do is first, before I go into the main bit, I'm going to show you guys how to do something really cool that I've been using on my server quite a lot. And a lot of people want to know how to do it. A lot of people have tried to make APIs to do the certain thing, but I just don't think it's as cool as learning how to do it yourself. So as you can see, I'm not adding anything new or anything like that. What I'm going to show you guys is how to send titles, and as in send a title to a given player or all the players. And what it will do is it will say, okay, this is a message now, print on your screen. You can do it if you can manipulate it or whatever you want. That's what I love about making plugins, because anything that you can show or do can be manipulated. So what we're going to do is we're going to send a title, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a new class. The class is a public class. It's a static class. For people who don't know what static means when you ever have a function, the function never changes. It's always the same. So what that means is, for example, if I have, I don't know, a variable, I can never reinstallate that variable, if you know what I mean. So it can never be, that variable can never equal to nothing. It always has to equal to something. So in this case, we're going to make a static void, and it's going to be, we call it send title. There's many ways you can do. So you can say send title text to player. So your choice. You can be literally anything you want, but the stuff we're going to need is a certain amount of variables. So first variable we're going to need is the player we're going to send a variable to. We're going to need import player, and we're going to name the player P. The next thing we're going to need is the first string, which is going to be the subtitle, which is going to be the big letter you get in the front. Sorry, first one's going to be, that's the second one, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. First one we're going to need is called title. Second one's going to be subtitle. So the title will be the main one you see. Subtitle will be the little text you see underneath it. And we're going to need two numbers. First one, integer. So integer is 1 to any number from 1 to 200, 2000, 500. Wait, 25,565, I think it is. It's a lot of numbers. It might be more than that. I'm probably very wrong, but I know it's a lot of numbers. To the integer, we're going to call it fade in. Yes, what it's going to do is going to be how long it takes the number, how long it takes the text to fade in. We're going to need to have show. So how long we're going to have it for, and we're just going to have one for fade out, and then we can open up that statement. So any code we do in here will now play a part in it. So the way titles are done, the titles are actually done by packets, and you can do packets to do loads of things. You can use, if I can actually show you, packets can be used to respawn players. Loads of servers like Mineplex, Hypixel, loads of servers do this. Even I've done it. So that what happens when a player dies, they can be instantly respawn, and they can be teleported somewhere depending on what statement. It's just loads of little stuff that are done by packets. But the packets we're going to do is packet play out title. What that's going to do is I'm going to allow the player to send receive a title, and the title we're going to need a times. It's just any random time, any random name. So we'll make a new packet play out title, and we're going to put inside the fade out time, how long to show it for, and the fade in time. Sorry, wrong way around. Wow. Fade out, fade in, and show. Okay. And then we're gonna close this statement. So now we've got a title, a string called times that has no use right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a new iChat component. So iChat base component, and we're going to use this one because we're going to use the bucket type, and we're going to use a chat sterilizer. What it's going to allow us to do is to do certain code that's not going to affect our chat, and it's gonna work perfect for a plugin. So this allows us to access it. That's all it really does. It allows us to access it. Okay. So now that we have one inside this class, that we can now use the chat sterilizer anywhere within this function, and it will be in use. So we're gonna make it now a new title. So remember, we got one for times. We're gonna make a new title now. To do the title, what we're gonna need to do is a few things. First, we're gonna need to make a new title, just like before, a new packet playout time title. But this one's gonna act a lot differently. The one we're gonna be using is gonna push out a full enum. An enum is like having a kind of a different type of statement. You can use an enum for many things. The enum we're going to be using is a different type of enum, but enum is used for situations when you have a variable that's the same thing but different type. For example, having a police class or a civilian class and a medic class. They can be names that are known as enums, and they will be used. They can be used in a lot of stuff. They're used in team systems, in leaderboards, loads of stuff. It all depends on your main use for the enum. But in this situation, we're going to use a packet enum. So inside of here, we're going to do this dot enum title action, and we're going to get a certain type. So the one we're going to be getting right now is the title enum. Okay, and then we're going to comma. We're going to head down so it's easier for you guys to see. We're going to use the iChat base component we just initialized, and with that we're gonna use the sterilizer again, but the sterilizer type we're going to use is part A. So loads of different stuff in Bukkit, especially a lot of stuff in the Spigot have things that are known as A, B, or C, or some, just they go on and on and on. They're kind of the hidden functions that are used when they're initialized. They're used when, for example, if you're making like a horse but making a special type of horse, they will use A, B, and C. They use that mean different things. A could be movement speed, C could be the type, B could be the jump height, things like that. It's very in the term of how it was developed. I don't know why the developer did it like this. They could have made it a lot better names, but I guess it was their choice really. They make it how they feel. So well, we've got the chat sterilizer A started. It takes in a part string, and the string we're going to be using is this. I'm just going to type it in so you can just follow it, guys. Okay, so what that does is that just gives you a big piece of text. I think that takes in whatever text this is. I'm not too sure how this code worked, but it was what I did from doing a lot of research, that is literally how it works to get the title to work. So once you've done that at the start, you used to have to add a certain type of color. So we've got chat color, and it's going to translate alternative color code, and we're going to be using this one. Takes in a character and a string. So to get the character, we're going to be just putting in this and an @ key. So an AND key, not an @ key. And the string we're going to put in is the title that we get from up here. Okay, and then when you got that, you're also going to plus here right after the first one, and we're going to do one of those weird looking codes again. So we've got first, we've got this one, close bracket, another one, and then close. I know it's very weird, but we can kind of understand what it is. So this is for this bit. Okay, this is just an add-on for the last bit over here. That is just color coded text that go for this bracket, which ends off this one ends off that one. So you can kind of understand how it works. So we've got the times, we've also got the title. And now one more we're going to do is for the subtitle, or yeah, the subtitle is literally what it is. It's a subtitle. So if we're going to do another player packet out title, and we're going to call this one the subtitle, and it's a new packet out again, and we're going to pretty much do the same thing we've just done with this one, but for the title. So what we can do is we can in fact just copy this code from here to here, okay, and it's not a title, it's a subtitle, and we're also not using the title code, we're using the code from the subtitle here, and that's literally it. And the last bit we're going to need to do now is to actually push these packets to the given player. So we need to convert the player to a craft player. What a craft player is it's like a special type of player. It's not a normal bucket type player, but it takes what is a bucket player, takes it to the craft player bucket. So that's the part of the spigot and the bucket, and it allows you to actually physically use it in game as something completely else. So for example, if I give you a quick demonstration, if I typed in P, which is the player which we added, you got a list of player commands that you can do to player, like sending messages, get where his position is, get his height, get his health, all this normal stuff that you can get. But now if we make a craft bucket, okay, we got a craft player of type P, and then we need to get his handler. Okay, this is for the actual craft player part of it all. Then we need its handler, and then with the handler we need to get the player's connection and then send them a packet. So you just type send packet. We've got times to send. We need to also send a few more to send. Times, we have to send title, sorry, subtitle first, and then title. And there we go. And now you can import the craft player because we've got a certain use for him now. So now, for example, if I was to get this, there's more code that you can now do. So now you can see, if you can check if you can see a certain player, you can change a lot more stuff. You can remove certain things that are not all for an entity now, they're now craft player stuff, like set it display name, and just everything's a lot different, adds way more functionality to Minecraft. So with that done, that's the end of the statement. So what it does is it made a new time statement of how long it's going to be on for. It's made a title, it's made a subtitle, it's going to send him, okay, this is how long you're supposed to do it for, that is the subtitle you need to do, and that's the title you need to do, and that was it, and now we'll close. And actually that's just it. So the next bit we're going to do now is the main start of the plugin. So the first thing we want to do is first get when a player joins the server. So we're going to make a new plugin, make a new function, sorry, public void on player join. You can actually add it lowercase, why not? And the type of variable we're going to get, these are all events. So we're going to type a player type of variable, and we're going to get a player join event, and it's an event. Remember, because it's an event, we need to insulate it. It is an event using the event handler. So event handler. And when the player joins the event, this will happen. So what we want to do is first get the player who just joined. So event.get player. So that's the player who currently just joined the server. We want to get his current inventory. We want to completely wipe it. So we need to clear two things. We need to clear the inventory, which is the actual slots, but we also need to clear his armor. A lot of people forget to clear the armor, but the armor you need to get rid of as well, because if a player has a special type of armor, it will cause you quite a lot of problems if you're trying to clear it at another time. So I don't think you can use a clear armor. I think it's get armor contents. Let me just double check. Sorry, it's set armor contents. Sorry, not clear. We'll use set contents and set armor contents. I will make them none. It's kind of the same thing as using the clear command, but I'd rather do it this way, okay? That way you make sure it's not full of air, it's full of nothing, if you know what I'm saying. So now we've got that done. So when a player joins, everything will be wiped, and now we're going to give him a certain item. So we're going to make a new item. So we're going to item stack, and we're going to call this the let's call it baby blast rod, and it's a new item stack. Let's import item stack, and we're going to call it material. So whatever material we want now, we can now set. So if let's import material, did I import the right item stack? I'm not sure if I did. Yeah, it's the right one. Let me just check that I did import. I think I'm importing the right one. It might be me importing the wrong one. Let's try this one then. Yeah, it was. Material.blast rod. And we're going to need one of them. And we're going to import this material or this one. But I recommend you import the bucket one. I probably spelled that one wrong. It's blaze rod, not blast rod. So now we made an item stack called baby blast rod, and now we can do certain things with it. So once this is done now, what we gotta do now is to now not just give it to the player, but we want to also change its name. So to do this, we need to get the item metadata from this actual blast rod that we've just made. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a new one called item meta or matter, and we're gonna call it, let's just copy the name and say matter at the end, and this is equal to the original ones get item meta. So it's a legit one that's corresponding to that specific rod. So now with this, now we can do whatever we want to do to manipulate the item's characteristics, like its name, its flags, if it's enchanted, if it's glowing, all this lovely stuff we do with this. So what we want to do is we want to change its name. So we're going to set display name, and we can name it whatever we want. We're going to name it baby, I don't know, baby zombie spawner. Actually no, it's not spawn zombies, let's spawn just some pigs. Should we just make some pigs, guys? I think we go baby pig spawner. Baby, just because I like baby. Yeah. And what we want to do is we also want to change the name because it's a pig. Let's just make it pink. So we're going to chat color dot. Yes, we want this one. Do we have a pink? Nope, we don't have a pink. What's close to pink? We've got yellow, red, white, purple. No pink, unfortunately. We can go for red. Yeah, I think we're gonna go for red. Okay, let's go for red. Okay, then we plus it because we want to add it to text. We're gonna close this one, and there we go. That's this now reset to its name. Now is baby pig spawn. So now what we got to do is set its name back. So we go back to the metadata. We want to, sorry, not this one, the rod. I want to set its new data. Set its new data to the new item data we just made called baby blast rod. So that means this name will now set and everything like that. And then we want to give it to the player. So we're going to event get player, get inventory as well, add item. And the item we're going to add is this new blast rod that we've just made. And that's how you give a player a custom blast rod when they start the game. So guys, once this is all done, what we've got to do is this. We need to make a checker to check if I can't use a weapon at all. And if it is, we need to check that if this has got the same name as baby pig spawner, and if it does, then we can do a certain thing. So what we're going to do is we need to make another event handler. So first we'll make another public variable, void, and we're going to call this one on player interact. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to check the player. We're going to check for a player event. Is an interact event. So that's when player does any type of interactions at all, really any. And we're going to go get turn out into the name of event. We also need the event handler. Always need event handler because we're working with events. Okay. And now what we're going to do is check the same thing. So we're going to do event get item. That means it gets the current item the player is currently using. So we're going to turn this into if event. If the event, the item I'm using is, is nothing, means that I don't have an item, I want it to do nothing. Else, if the item, so get item again, has a metadata, which means that it has one of those custom data, but it does not have one, so we're going to put that key in front of it. I also want it to do nothing. That means that we've not done any coding for it. It's just a random item. It could even be a randomly generated item, or an item that is a normal Minecraft item that has no value to our plugin at all. So we're going to do, if it has no item data as well, what we're also going to do is do nothing else, and then anything after this we can now work with. That means the item is a custom item or has the metadata that we can currently use. So what we're going to do is we're going to make what I like to call switches. A switch is as you'll probably guess, a switch. So it does a targets, if it is true, then check which one is true. If they all aren't true, it will do the default value. In our case, we're going to do a switch event get item dot get name, so get item meta, get display name, and whatever string we get out of it, we want to use it in a switch. But remember, we're using custom colors. So to get rid of the color, we need to get rid of the color before we can even check if it is a certain item or not. We're going to do chat color dot strip color and whatever inputs. The input we're going to use is this big input. So what it's going to do is it's going to the string that this produces is this, but in black and white. So it's not a problem. It shouldn't have a problem anyway at all. So now we can open it, and first we're going to always need a default variable. So that means if all else fails, do me. So in our case, if all else fails, just return. Okay, just come out. So it will just stop the variable. So it means nothing happens. You don't exactly need it, but it's always a good trick to make sure you stick returns everywhere, because if you don't, it could eventually cause you some problems, and we really do not want that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to get the name. So if the case of the name is equal to the baby spawner, so case, that's the name, then do a set of thing. Okay, so we also need to make some new variables before we start going to this last bit. We're going to make some new variables into the spawner. So first thing we're going to do is at the top, we're going to make a variable that we can change in the main plugin. So the variable we're going to make is going to be string. So we're going to put public static string, because remember, when we need to access something from somewhere else, you need to be static or we can't access it. Static string, sorry, lowercase s, static string, that needs to be capital, and we're going to call it NPC name, which is going to be nothing at the moment. We don't need to initialize it. It's just an empty string right now, so it can be equal to anything. In fact, we're going to give it a default name just in case. So we're going to call it pig. Okay, so whenever we call them, they're going to respawn pig. What we're going to do is we're going to go back into the main class, and we're going to now access this same command and then change it depending on what the player has typed. So what we're going to do in this situation, okay, in this situation we're going to get a case. So we're going to get switch, and we're going to get the string. Sorry, we're going to do if, so we don't need to switch at all, do we? So we can get the string if cmd label is equal to, ignoring case, so that means it could be the lowercase or uppercase. I recommend whenever you have to use a string, always use equals in no case. Sometimes doing double equals to do is equal to this, sometimes those cause errors or it gets ignored. I don't understand why sometimes, but this always seems to work 100% of the time. So just equals ignore case, and let's say we did a command change NPC spawn name. Yeah. If it's equal to this case, then we want it to do a certain thing. Okay. So what we want it to do, we want to get this name, change it, and then set it back to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the name that we've asked. So we're going to get the string new name is equal to args at position 0. If you know the way numbers in real life, the way numbers actually go, to start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So whenever you use an args, the first position is 0. So we're going to get what's whatever name or number that the player has put in the first after this name. It's going to get set here. It will be set into the string new name, and now we can use that string anywhere we want. So in the case, what we're going to do is we're going to do king trait dot NPC name is equal to new name. But if I did it correctly, that should be fine. But I'm going to tell you a trick that sometimes in switching program terms, this might not work. There's better ways to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it very, very fast. We can make a new public variable void called change player name, and it's going to be a static void. Okay, it's going to take no variables. Sorry, it's going to take a variable. It's going to take a string new name, and what it's going to do is going to change this with whatever we put in. Okay, so what we're going to do now, instead of doing all of this, because sometimes that could cause us off a problem, we're going to do king trait again, but we're going to use the function we just made, change player string, and then we're going to put a new name. So what's going to happen, this is going to send the code to this plugin, and the plugin is going to manually change it up here. So it shouldn't cause any problems at all, and it's more efficient to do it this way. Okay. Okay, so once we're done with all this lovely stuff, so what if I explain to you what's going to happen when we send the command in? It's going to ask if this is the name that we sent in. If there is a name, it's going to change all of the plugin, all the spawners to this new name. So, but one thing we also need to remember, sure we're doing a boolean to check if it's working, we need to return true. This way the plugin knows that this code worked successfully and didn't cause any errors, or it didn't break or anything like that. So we can do return true. And that's the end of that statement. So now we need to go back into king trait, and now we need to start spawning the players. So what we got to do is this: on interact, if the baby pig spawner is the name of the weapon that we're using, instead of using the net way, we're actually going to just type in citizens, because we have the API connected already. So we've got citizens API, and you got all these commands that we can now use using the citizens API plugin. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to get the NPC registry, and we're going to create an NPC. And what this allows us to do is create an NPC with whatever type we want, or any type of wow, I cannot pronounce it, entity, and any name that we want to give it to. So we're going to create one right now, the entity type. So we're going to do entity type in dot, and to all the types of entities there are. So we've got sticks, arrow stands, bats, blazes, any mob you can probably think of, it's here. So the one we're going to be doing is the one under pig, because we want a pig. So every type pig, and whatever name we want to give it. But remember, we are using a name that's custom, so the name that we got is on the NPC name. So we're going to NPC name and then close. There's many ways you can do it. If you want to physically alter the NPC you've just created, you could create it as an NPC type and then call it NPC new piggy, and this will be pushed into this. So we're going to, you can take this NPC type, which is this, we're going to type NPC, and now with this new piggy name, we can do a loads of different commands. If you want to add a trait to him, we can do loads of different stuff. All depends on what you want to do. Like you can check loads of stuff, like if it's fly and just normal NPC stuff that you can actually do in the plugin without having to even go into the plugin. So everything is now done apart from one little thing. We need what's known as a plugin file, and this plugin file you have into all of your plugins that you make is a plugin.yml, and this is used so that when you import into Bukkit can actually pick it up and read data from it and know where the type of files are, where is the main file, what stuff I need, what it depends on, all the stuff, who made it, who the author is, everything like that, what version you're using, all this lovely stuff too. So to get it, I'm gonna just use one that I've currently made before, just add it to here. And what I'm going to do, guys, just for you, so we can just copy it, it's not a problem. I'm going to put it in the description too, so you can download it yourself. Very simple plugin. So we're going to have the trait name, the author, what version, what the server, the type of main it is, and what it's dependent on. So in this case, the name is main, because we're in main. Okay, that's the one. If you had it as king trait, this will start first, and if it starts first, it's going to cause problems because it's not supposed to start first. This is what starts all the plugins and all the commands and all that lovely stuff too. So in here we got the main. We're gonna have the author, which is me, IC Walker or Benjamin Thomas. With the version number we're using version 1, and where the file is located. Remember, we're not using me.co anymore. We're using org. So what it is org.youtube.main, and that's it. And it depends that the Citizens API is working too, because we do need it for anything to work. Okay, and there's also some other stuff you can do. You can also add commands here too, so that if you have commands in your server and you want to use them, you do need to have it here. So for example, we're gonna have commands. Let's add one of those very weird spaces they have here, and where our command name is. So in our case, our command is change NPC spawn name. Okay, and it's gonna, for example, I'm gonna just use one that I've got already. So what it's gonna do is gonna allow the player to change the NPC spawn name. Okay, and the command I need to do is just this. We can save that now, save this now, save this, right click here, export it, click on Java file, next, click these two because we don't want these, we don't need them at all, you just need the plugin file where you want to save it. So in my case, I want to save it right here, name it whatever you want. So I'm going to name it the same name as my plugin, it's your choice. So I'm going to go NPC YouTube NPC spawner, finish. It's going to build it, and there you go, the plugin is now made. So now if we go to the Java file, we get to plugins, we now got our plugin. It's so tiny, so tiny, because there's not a lot of code. But before I start to show you guys how the last bit is done, we also need one more file. The file is called config.yml. It's just like the plugin, but the config is usually empty. I'm not too sure why most servers are dependent on it, even if it is completely empty, but just a lot are. So you just have the config as well, has nothing inside. A few things that we do need to change, because I found out they are the wrong way to set it up. The first thing is this is pretty much the only thing that's the wrong really. There is a way to set it that was actually going to cause me an error. So good thing I resolved it before we started. This will not work. This will work, but this will not work. If this doesn't work, this will stop all this from working. So what I need to do is I need to change this. This does actually work with just the clear command, but this on the other hand doesn't. So the only way you can get that to work is to set it as none. So we can save that, we can export that, and everything should work fine from there. So I know it's the third time I had to export it now, but it should all be good to go from here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start up Minecraft. We're going to click on run. We're going to just start the server up. I'm just going to give it 5 gigs of RAM because I have a lot of RAM on my computer, and it's going to start up. It should start up just perfectly. As you can see now, main is now enabled, because if you remember, we got it on here. If it enables it, it's just going to say get its name, and it's enabled. Let's just double check here. So everything's fine because that's just the enabling plugin for it. Okay, because it's using the list now perfectly and it's completely enabled beautifully. So what we need to do now is open up Minecraft. So let's open up Minecraft. Go to my stuff on my computer, desktop page, Minecraft. Start offline mode. It's not a problem for me because as you guys know, I have downtime right now. But it doesn't make a difference if online offline at all. Multiplayer, and at the bottom you should see our server, which is now open and ready to use. So once you left click on server, you should spawn here. And what I've done is I've already made a trait controller over here. So I'll show you very quickly what I did. So I just select him, NPC remove, okay, and I'm gonna throw away this, restart the server. If you come back on the server, you'll see that you spawn on nothing. And I'm just going to pick up some seeds. It doesn't hurt to just fill up the inventory a little bit. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create an NPC. So create NPC trait man. Why not? And we're going to give him a special trait. So trait NPC, which is the one we made from the main plugin. We're going to log out, log back in, and you can see it's gone. My seeds are gone. And what we've got is a baby pig spawner. Hey guys, so yeah, I just realized that there was actually a big problem in the way I programmed the piggy code. The way it works is this. We've made the NPC named Piggy, but I've noticed that we've created an NPC, but we've not used him anywhere. That was the problem why when I tried to actually export it, it came up with a problem. So I've noticed that is the main reason why. So to fix this, what we've got to do is now spawn the piggy. So we're going to do piggy dot spawn, and then choose where you want to spawn it. So we're just going to steal the player's current location. So event dot get player dot get location. This is why it's really good that we have this NPC made, because without this we won't actually be able to check where he is or where to spawn him, or any cool stuff like that. So now we can just save this, next, export it, yes. Whoops, we also got to get rid of the old location because we won't be needing that anymore. It's really good that Eclipse picks up these errors, because if not, then we could actually fall into a lot of problems. So it's actually really nice that it picks it all up. So now we're gonna run the server. We're gonna also go to the desktop, open up Minecraft, let it all load. So look, as you can see, it says this is actually loaded 41 NPCs, because what happened was when it was starting, it's just spawning, but not putting them anywhere. So there we go. You can go to the server, and with right click, it's a piggy. Hi piggy. Another piggy. Another piggy. A piggy. And we can just go on a field day, just spawning pigs. The more we click, the more pigs will spawn. And it's literally as easy as that. And we can do this for any animal, we can do this for ender dragons, blazes, literally anything you could probably think of, we can do it for. As you can see, all the names are pigs. Pig, 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 pig. So we want to change the name. So if you remember, we have a new command in the main called change NPC name. So we change NPC spawn name and call it Ben. Look, it's Ben. And over here, it's Ben. And it's literally as easy as that, guys. Look at that, Ben. So we can name him Robert, or Rob, with caps. And we got Robert here. And it's literally as easy as that. So guys, you can now muck around with the plugin, you can make special people, and all you need is this little baby pig spawner, and you can say, okay, I want a guy to be here. You right click, and there'll be a guy here named Rob in that case. And it's as easy as that. Troops, hope this tutorial helped you, and you can use it to start making your plugins, and it'll be really awesome to find out what you guys have done. If you guys haven't, or you are and you like this video, please don't forget to hit a like, don't forget to comment below and tell me what the projects you guys have started just because of this. I'm very interested to know. Troops, stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. There's one more thing I want to show you guys. If you remember earlier in this video, I actually showed you guys how to select titles, but I didn't get a chance to actually show you guys how to physically use it. So what we're gonna do is, if you heard the popular Snoop Dogg remix called "Smoke Weed Every Day," we're gonna have it called "Smoke Bacon Every Day." Because I think it's kind of funny because we're spawning little piggies. So what I'm gonna do is, when we have the player spawn system, we're also gonna send the player a title, because we know what player we want. The player is the person who just who's actually spawning it, so we can now input in the title. So we're gonna do send. It's okay. Send title text to player, the one we currently made. The title the person we're gonna send to is a player. So we're gonna do event dot get player. The title is gonna be smoke bacon, and the subtitle will be every day in caps, maybe even an expression mark at the end. And we're gonna change the color. So we're gonna chat color. This is gonna be dark blue. Actually, dark aqua, because I like aqua. And this is just gonna be normal aqua. So we're gonna do chat color aqua. Okay, let's just bring this down so we can see it better. Okay, and we've got the timers we want. So we're going to have it the way Minecraft works. It works in what is called ticks. Every 20 ticks is an actual second. So we're going to do 20, 20, 20. So it takes 20. It takes a second to go in. It stays for a second and then goes out in a second. I think that's enough time. So we're going to save that. Export it. Next. Nope. Nope. Yes. Go into Minecraft. Log into the server. Reload the server. And you see now we've loaded so many pigs. It's now incredibly high. What I'm going to do, in fact, is just so you guys can see, nice on the right, brand new way. We're going to go to, see, that's the config file we made earlier. As you see, there's a blank config file. We're going to go here. In fact, we're just going to delete the whole folder. We're going to reload. It should now say, oh, it still loads the 115. That's crazy. Okay, maybe there's no way to get rid of them. I don't know. It's not a problem anyway. So we'll click play. Go on server. We got all our piggies everywhere. Did you know they like the pigs? And every time we spawn a pig now, smoke bacon every day. And there's a pig. I think that's pretty cool. And you can have this on automatic. Keep scrolling, keep changing. Every time you reset it, it just deletes stuff, sends a new packet, resends it. It's all done via the plugin, so you can have this doing loads of crazy stuff. Like if you've been on Minecraft UK, you see that how I've kind of tried to implement kind of like a Sims type gameplay using titles and the boss bar and really cool things like that. And all it is just using simple overlays like this in a plugin and get sent to every player depending on what player has got what, and that's all it is. Everybody, smoke bacon every day. See you in the next video, guys.